Hi students, for today's session we're going to discuss the chapter Digestion and Absorption. So in this chapter we are basically going to discuss the human digestive system. We're going to understand the different parts of the human digestive system and the function, as well as the different glands which are also associated, which aid in the process of digestion. And finally we're also going to discuss about some of the digestive disorders. Okay, so let's get started. So before we understand about the human digestive system, it is very important that we understand what is that substance that your digestive system needs to work on. Okay, and I hope you know what's the answer. It is basically our food. As we know, every living organism needs to consume food to survive. He needs to consume food to grow and develop. Hence, food is one of the basic requirements of all living organisms. So the question arises, what is basically this food? What is the substance that we are basically eating? Is it an organic source or is it an inorganic source? So basically a food is an organic substance which needs to be broken down. And who is going to take up that role of breaking down the food into smaller components? Yes, it is your digestive system. Okay. Now let's see the components. What are the components which make up the food? The food consists of the following components, that is carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Dear students, I believe you have a basic idea about the following three components, that is carbohydrates, proteins and fats, which you have learned in your lower classes. For example, if we take carbohydrates, it is an energy releaser. If we want a quick burst of energy, we consume carbohydrates. Proteins, when we need to build up our body, the muscles, we need to consume proteins. And fats are also known as energy reserves of our body. For example, if our body doesn't have enough carbohydrates and it needs an extra source of energy, then obviously it is the fats which the body will look for to gain the energy. Okay. Now, as I've already stated, the role of food, that is, food provides energy and organic material for growth and repair of tissue. If you don't consume food, what's going to happen? If you have an accident, if you fall, you are going to lose your tissue. So those tissue have to be replaced. So who is going to replace it? So who is going to provide those raw materials? Obviously the answer is food. Okay, so your food will definitely help your body to heal and grow healthily. Now, apart from food, we also need to understand that the role of water. As we know, our cell is made up of 70% of water, right? So for the different cellular reactions to occur in your body, we need water. Similarly, for the digestion process to take place, we need water. Okay, so we cannot neglect water. So water plays an important role. So water plays an important role in metabolic processes and also prevents dehydration of the body. Okay, so as we know that every organism needs to consume enough water. Okay, you can survive without food, but we cannot survive with water. Okay. So let's move further to the next component of this chapter, that is biomacromolecules. Okay, so let's define what is biomacromolecules. Biomacromolecules in food cannot be utilized by our body in their original form. They have to be broken down and converted into simple substances in the digestive system. Now this is why we need to have a digestive system. So we begin the process from biomacromolecules, and then those biomacromolecules have to be converted into its simpler form, that is biomicromolecules. So this is where your process of digestion, which is basically a life process, comes into play. Okay, and this is where your digestive system helps to convert those larger macromolecules into micromolecules, so that when you consume the food gets broken down into micromolecules and can be easily absorbed in the body. So do remember, if the food is in a macromolecular form, your body cannot absorb the food. Okay, so let's learn further. So that brings us to the next important definition, and that is digestion. So we have actually entered the chapter. Okay, so let's define what is digestion. The process of conversion of complex food substances to simple absorbable form is called digestion, and digestion is carried out by our digestive system. So let's keep it simple. What is digestion basically? It's basically converting complex substance into simple absorbable form. This is important. Whatever you consume, your body needs to absorb it. If it doesn't absorb it, then it will not help in the growth of the body, and it will be just ejected out. Okay, so and you don't want that to happen. You want the food that you consume to be a part of your body. Only then can you expect your body to grow. So now let's see what are the ways digestion can occur in your body. So digestion can occur in two forms: mechanical method as well as biochemical method. I hope you know what is a mechanical method and a biochemical method, as the term suggests. So if there is a mechanical pressure exerted on the food substance, okay, due to which it gets broken down into smaller components, that is mechanical method. If there are some enzymes or chemicals involved in the breaking of the larger molecule into simpler molecule, that will refer it as biochemical method. Okay, so let's now see the components of your human digestive system. The human digestive system consists of the two components: the alimentary canal and the associated glands. Okay, now let's discuss each one of them in detail. As you can see in the slide, you can see the entire alimentary canal right from the mouth till the anus. Okay, so we are going to discuss each of these components in detail. So let's continue. The alimentary canal consists of the following components: the mouth, the oral cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, and the anus. So let's get started with the first component of your digestive system, that is the mouth. Okay, so as you know, the body of an organism consists of an anterior end as well as a posterior end. So where is the mouth located? Obviously the answer is the anterior end. Okay, hence mouth, the anterior opening. The mouth leads to the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. So after the mouth, the next part of the digestive system, okay, is the buccal cavity or the oral cavity. Okay, so here you can see this is our oral cavity or the buccal cavity, where we also have our teeth as well as the very important organ, that is the tongue. So the oral cavity consists of two parts: the teeth as well as the muscular tongue. So let's learn few more information, very important informations with regard to the teeth. Now we have a term here called as the thecodont. Now what is thecodont? Let's look further. When tooth is embedded in a socket of jawbone, this type of attachment is called thecodont. Okay, that is when your teeth is embedded, okay, or it is found fixed in your jawbone, okay, this condition, okay, is what we call as thecodont. The next term that we have is diffeodont. So the word diffeodont refers to two types of teeth which we see in mammals. So majority of mammals, including man, possess two sets of teeth during their life: a set of temporary milk or deciduous teeth, which is replaced by a set of permanent or adult teeth. This type of dentition is called diffeodont. So basically what happens is, in the initial phase of life of an individual, okay, when the individual is in its early stage, when he is in an infant form, okay, he has got the temporary milk teeth, maybe till the age of 6 to 8. And as he grows, he loses those milk teeth, okay, and that is why the milk teeth is also called as the deciduous teeth, okay. And once those deciduous teeth or the milk teeth are lost, it has to be replaced by a set of permanent teeth or adult teeth, okay. So because we have two sets of teeth, okay, this dentition is called diffeodon. So what is diffeodon? It's basically having two sets of teeth. In the early phase of life, you have a teeth called as a temporary milk teeth or the deciduous teeth, which is only for a short while. And once the milk teeth are lost, it is replaced by a set of permanent adult teeth. So this combination of two sets of teeth this condition is what we term as diffeodont. Coming to another term with regard to the human dentition, that is heterodont. As we know that human has got 32 permanent teeth, which are of 4 different types, namely incisors, canine, premolars, as well as molars. So let's see the dental formula. As in the given slide, you can see the human dental formula, okay. Now what is your teeth made up of basically? Your teeth is made up of a substance called as enamel. The hard chewing surface of the teeth is made up of enamel. It helps in the mastication of the food, okay, or the chewing of the food. Now let's discuss the most important organ in your buccal cavity, and that is the tongue. I hope you know that your tongue is one of the strongest muscle in our body. The tongue is a freely movable muscular organ attached to the floor of the oral cavity by a structure called frenulum. So let's locate where the frenulum. So when you raise your tongue and touch the tip of your tongue to the roof of your mouth, you could see this small structure here, which is called as the lingual frenulum, okay. So your tongue is attached to the floor of the buccal cavity by the structure called as frenulum. So when you observe closely your tongue, you see small tiny structures. So these tiny structures are what we call it as the papillae. The upper surface of the tongue has small projections called papillae, some of which bear taste buds. I think you are already aware about taste buds. Taste buds are structures which are found on your tongue, okay. So some of the papillae may bear taste buds. So in this slide, you can see the small projected structure, that's a papillae of the tongue, and these papillae may or may not contain taste buds. So we have discussed about the initial part of your digestive system, that is the buccal cavity, where you chew the food, okay. Now let's move further to the next part, that is the pharynx, okay. The oral cavity or the buccal cavity leads into a short pharynx, which serve as a common passage for food and air. The trachea and the esophagus open into the pharynx, okay. So you know that we have the windpipe, which is the trachea, and the esophagus, okay. They both have a common passage called the pharynx, okay. So here you can see the pharynx, okay, and here you can also see the larynx, okay. So the pharynx is a common passage for both, okay. So the pharynx is a common passage both for food as well as air. Ever wondered why your parents always says that you're not supposed to speak or talk or laugh when you're consuming food? It is because there is a chance that when you consume food, if you talk, the food may accidentally enter into your windpipe, and if it enters into a windpipe, it can sometimes cause suffocation. And to prevent that, we have a muscular structure, okay, a structure called as epiglottis. So what is epiglottis? It's a cartilaginous flap, okay. What does it do? It prevents the entry of food into the glottis, okay, during swallowing.